Welcome back to my garage. We're working on the brute force concept engine, a supercharged 50cc 2-stroke externally scavenged rotary exhaust valve concept engine. So last time we smashed in the Honda CR85 reed valves, which was, I hope they wouldn't be smashed in, but it was kind of expected because we've earlier smashed in some moped variants of the same reed valve, and also these like different not V-force reed valves. And the reason they're getting smashed in is because they're in the transfers, and the transfers are almost as high as the exhaust port, and the reason is to have variable transfer timing and the possibility to supercharge the cylinder after the exhaust port has or exhaust duct has closed. So that's the reason. And it seems like it's not the reed pedals that can't stand it. It's the cages. They get smashed in from very much higher pressure than what they're meant for. So we're gonna our first try will be printing new reed cages for well, like not V-force but normal looking reed cages in a carbon fiber nylon, but much more reinforced than what you can buy, and see if that works. Next option will be machining from aluminium. And we're going to try fiber reeds. I've bought this material. It's 0.4 millimeters thick, which is pretty much the thickest you can, well, you can get 0.45. The thickest you can easily get for a ready-made reed material. I had this from earlier, but it's I think it's 0.25 or something. It's too thin. So this is what we'll try first. I was talking about going to steel, and we might have to, but it's much safer trying this first. And if it holds, it holds, and if it breaks, it's not that much of a problem. Versus if we try steel reeds and they break, because then everything is probably destroyed. You might notice all the clutter here. That's because, as you might remember, we're attending Bonneville Speed Week this year with the land speed bike I built 5 years ago. Watch the video if you haven't. And I'm gathering up spare parts, extra spare parts. We've got a selection of spare parts in the United States already. But gathering up spare parts I'm gonna bring with me on the plane. And also some stuff that we will change. Like, I'm bringing 2 carbs. I'm bringing a normal carb, which I'll have to remember to flush really well, so that the TSA doesn't think it's a gun. And the Speedway carb. This is disassembled, but the same carb as I'm running on the brute force concept engine, and that's because we're gonna run the bike on methanol and nitromethane, just as with the brute force concept. But we're gonna bring a normal carb and get it properly running on gas first, and then like tune the variator and stuff before we transition to the other fuel, methanol, nitromethane. And the reason for this carb is, first of all, because it can deliver lots of fuel, and you need lots of fuel when running that kind of fuel. But also because I know there's vibration issues with a normal carb, with that sliding engine configuration. Probably more so in earlier configurations with like a swinging engine, and you have to go back, like, it's a typical French type single variated setup. And the engine can move in towards the rear pulley, and that's how the variator, when the variator variates, the belt obviously gets kind of gets shorter, and the engine moves towards the rear pulley. There's not 2 variable pulleys like you see in a typical scooter, but this is, it's more, the carb is more, there's more vibrations transferred to the carb versus when the engine is stiff mounted in a frame, it seems. Because I've been struggling much more with vibrations and fuel throttling in the carb, versus in other bikes where the engine is like hard mounted to the frame. So where was I? Yeah, this is immune to vibration. There's no float here. It's pretty much just a big hole and then a smaller hole and a fuel tap. You open the tap and fuel starts pouring. And there's no idle or anything. And as soon as you turn the bike off, you have to turn off the fuel supply, otherwise it floods. But start the bike on this, and we have I have bought this And this is going to be mounted to that sliding engine. It's a steering damper. And in this case, it'll be a transmission damper. So hopefully this can dampen out the small vibrations from the engine, but still, it'll still let the engine move as it variates. So that's, and this also probably will be, like the Americans will probably see this as a gun. So might be confiscated. Other stuff, pistons, spare pistons for the land speed bike, same size as the brute force engine, so spare pistons for both. Bearings and seals, crankshafts, and some extra clutch parts. Yesterday I was in, well, first of all, thank you. I was in a little meeting with Mitutoyo Scandinavia, and thank you, Mitutoyo. Mitutoyo are now sponsoring our Bonneville effort this year. Mitutoyo Scandinavia and Thomas Hjerne from Mitutoyo Scandinavia is working hard to get Mitutoyo Europe and Mitutoyo United States on board. So maybe we can get even more support from Mitutoyo. So thank you Thomas, and thank you Mitutoyo. That was one thing I did yesterday. The second thing, I visited Lucas at Brega Nord and picked up a couple of GoPro Session 5s, tiny GoPros, which will come in real handy for mounting to the bike and documenting stuff while doing testing and also runs. Talking about testing, I've also, so this was Friday. Friday I forgot to mention I was on a vacation with my like the whole extended family, my girlfriend's whole extended family last week. So that's why nothing happened. I think I mentioned it. But so I arrived back Thursday, and Friday I went on a trip to buy this. It's a Micron 5 S2T data logger. This will log speed, RPM, CHT, so head temp, and EGT, exhaust gas temperature. So today is Tuesday, I think. I'm flying Sunday, and I'm trying to. There's a bunch of stuff I need to like get on top of, and meetings and everything. So thank you. Without you guys buying this, which was fairly expensive, would not have been possible. And the spare parts, thank you for all the support, thank you for the donations. There's links on the screen now for donating to the channel and to our Bonneville effort this year. If you want to be a sponsor, if you have a company that want to sponsor us, there's an email on screen now. And thank you to Long Tuning, a special thank you to Long Tuning. And a special thank you to Mitutoyo, and a special thank you to all the viewers and my patrons and everybody. Thank you. Okay, you might notice this thing. It's a filament dryer. So we're gonna, I have to replace the nozzle for a smaller one in my 3D printer and replace the PLA with the carbon fiber nylon. I'm not sure if I'll get the engine running this week, but we'll get started because there's so much other stuff I have to arrange and pay attention to now before Bonneville. Next week will be really cool, because then I'm traveling to Travis's place in Colorado, and we'll start testing of the bike and modifications, and there's already been some modifications made, and hopefully we can beat the record, set the record. I'm replacing the 0.8mm nozzle with a 0.4mm nozzle. And then we're ramping the temperature up to 270 degrees. And now we'll need to prepare the print bed, because carbon fiber nylon is, well, nylon in general, does not want to stick to many things. It likes to stick to glass with PVA coating, in my experience. So we're gonna coat this in water-thinned PVA. Well, not this side, but the glass side. Yesterday I was complaining to my girlfriend about how much spam I was receiving in my personal email inbox. It's all the stuff that gets past that filter and into my normal inbox. And the reason that happens, I think, is because it seems like it's genuine stuff, because it contains stuff from businesses that it seems like I have a connection with them, but I don't. Take, for example, when I'm searching for cheap plane tickets, and I use like half shady sites. It seems like there's lots of advertisement, and the problem is these places collect your information, sell it to other companies, and then these like the brokers sell that information to other companies, and suddenly your personal information is spread across the internet. And my only like defense against this has been to start like unsubscribe, maybe send an email like, please unsubscribe me from this, delete me from this. So it's funny that the sponsor of this video is Incogni, because Incogni does all this stuff for me, and like it fixes this problem. The way this works, when you get a subscription, they send out requests to a bunch of data brokers asking for removal and exclusion from their system so they don't add you again. And they use like laws and stuff to make this happen. And the good thing is that it's not like they do that once. They continually, as long as you're subscribed, they continually keep on doing that. So if you get added to added somewhere again, new request, and you get moved. This is great. This is something that if I had stumbled upon it, and now you have stumbled upon it through me, but if I had stumbled upon it without the sponsorship, I would have definitely subscribed to just remove myself from, or at least limit the amount of stuff about me out there, and limit the amount of trash I'm receiving. Like, I'm just talking about the annoyance and inconvenience, but there's serious security risks with this, and especially with all your data spread out over the internet, and especially now that AI is starting to really become a thing, because it's so easy now to pretend to be someone else, even in video, and with lots of personal information on hand. Just imagine how easy it is to impersonate someone and maybe get to steal their stuff, you know. So this is a really important. This is really important. You should use this. I will now, definitely. Head to incogni.com/twostroke. There's a link in the description, and you'll get 60% off a subscription, and get your data removed from all the places you don't want it to be yourself. Thank you, Incogni. This is an original Ender 3. There's no fancy bed leveling or anything, so I'll have to manually level it, which isn't really an issue. One stupid thing with the Ender 3 is that this cooling fan for the electronics is coupled to the cooling fan for the nozzle, which means, and with nylon you don't want to run nozzle cooling. That also means that there won't be any cooling for the electronics box. So I'm just gonna place the cover on the side here to better dissipate the heat. I've had problems with that earlier, overheating of the drivers and stuff. This carbon fiber nylon is fairly warp prone. Not as bad as pure nylon, but still has to be really good bed adhesion for it to not warp up on the sides and ruin the print. So hopefully it'll stick. And like the thicker the bottom is, the worse the warping becomes. So while that's printing, let's start packing some stuff here. First the crankshafts, and I really think I should clean them. They're oiled, and that'll probably be a problem. If there's oil present, they'll think it's a gun. So that has to be at least cleaned off, so there's no Like you can see droplets in the bag here, and that'll probably trip them off. So even though I would have preferred to keep this in the bag, I think it's best to just leave it, have it like this without the bag. There's no bag of potentially flammable stuff there. I could pack this more efficiently, but I think they like that it's in like original packaging. They'll probably also like that it's possible to open them. Then the steering damper / gun. Jets and needles. That's enough probably for you to watch. Borrowing the brute force carb and bringing that with me. Got another one, but I'm missing the slide, so I'll have to. I'm gonna copy the slide. I'll make a template for the slide and order some material so that I can copy it, and so that I can use one here and one in the United States. I'm pretty sure they have some kind of sniffing system that will identify oxidizers. So nitromethane residue is probably not the best idea to have in your luggage. What's the difference between baggage and luggage? This is what we'll have to copy or make a template of. I'm going to leave this open to aerate a couple of days because I can smell some acetone residue, and I don't want to lock the acetone vapors inside the bags. I'll just leave this to aerate, and I'll assemble and pack it down later. Now, I've written a small note explaining that it's parts for my land speed bike, which I brought over 5 years ago, and I'm traveling back to revive it. And that everything is either new or has been cleaned thoroughly. And in fact, the most flammable part of the whole thing here is the bag itself, or the foam. And for questions, please call me. If it gets opened, and it probably will, but with this, it probably will. Hopefully this will, hopefully it's a nice person, and hopefully this will make them more nice. This or a $100 bill, I'm not sure what's best yet. 3D printer is chugging along nicely, and so far there's no problems with bed adhesion. So hopefully that continues on for the rest of the print. We'll see. New reed blocks successfully printed. This one is directly off the printer. Haven't removed the rim and support material and stuff yet. They'll need a little bit of sanding just to get the mating surfaces for the reed pedals flat and sealing, and some general cleanup inside here. I've also printed a drill guide or a marking template so that I can mark the holes for these in the correct position. There's printed in like thicker areas where the screws are supposed to go. I was concerned about screwing like machine screws into this material, but I can see it being used in various reed valves, so like these, so probably not a problem. A more clever solution would be to do it like they did in the actual V-Force reed valve, where there's like this stuff clamping, this thing clamping the reed valves in place. So there's rectangular posts and corresponding rectangular pockets here. But It might be like it'll take a couple of iterations to get that right, to get the tolerances right. Make sure the pedals don't just fly away. Seems to have been a success. So they look like completely normal reed valves now, and should seal just as well as other reed valves with that comparable material, carbon fiber nylon, which pretty much any composite or any like plastic looking reed cage is. It's carbon fiber infused nylon, reinforced nylon. They'll definitely flow worse than, very probably flow worse than the V-Force reeds, because these flow really well. And especially because there's not one big flowing channel, there's 6 of them here, and that's for reinforcement. So they'll flow worse than these. But they're should be much stronger, because there's much thicker cross sections everywhere, and also the pedals are much better supported, because there's now 4 bridges for this single pedal to rest on, versus just a thin middle one here. And in many of the designs, there's like in the V-Force reeds for mopeds, there's actually separate pedals for each hole. Not the case here. Harder to open probably, but should make it easier for the reed valve, for the pedal itself. So we'll see how this works. If the cage fails, like has been the case with all the other tries, all other attempts, and also the pedal, but we don't know what fails first, the pedal or the cage. But if the cage fails, we'll make it out of metal. If the pedal fails, we'll make that out of metal. And we might end up with a fiber cage with metal pedals, or metal cage with metal pedals. Or we'll end up with fiber or plastic fiber cage with fiber pedals. We don't know yet, but we'll find out. But not until after I've been to Bonneville, not until after I've been over to Colorado next week for testing and tuning and modifications of the land speed bike. I'll of course bring you along, and that's the reason for that is, well, probably I won't have time to do some proper testing now. And also I stole the carb from that engine, from the brute force engine, to bring it along, and I want that to, I've cleaned it and I want it to aerate for a couple of days before I pack it down in a bag, because otherwise there could be residual acetone vapors or something like locked up somewhere in nooks and crannies, and that'll smell a lot if they open the bag, and then they'll confiscate it for sure. I have a second of that carb. I just need to make a new slide, and I'm gonna do that. But anyways, I'm really looking forward to seeing how this behaves, and I'm also really looking forward to traveling over to the United States and seeing the land speed bike again, and hopefully getting it to run really well, and maybe in August we'll break a record. We'll see. See you next time.